So you mentioned right of return. I think this is the one of the greatest challenges that people don't know how to approach. So you said you have that worked out.
Yes, so we think that the European Union's model of separating citizenship and residency might be the right way to do this. That, for example, someone who is a French citizen moves to Germany, they can become a resident of Germany, but they remain a French national or French citizen. They vote in French national elections. So I think you can have a situation where you can each state can decide who it wants to give citizenship to. So the Israeli law of return allows the state of Israel to say it wants to grant citizenship to any Jew over throughout the world. If Palestinians want to say that they want to give citizenship to Palestinians in the diaspora, I think that that would be okay because it wouldn't change the balance of power in terms of the demographics because they wouldn't be voting in the Knesset. In terms of if they wanted to move, let's say if someone from Ramallah wanted to move to Jaffa, they would remain a Palestinian citizen, but they could apply for residency in Israel. But I think that in terms of, we also need to think in terms of for Palestinians, the issue of return. I think we need to take it out of the realm of not fantasy, but just sort of an idea. And how would this actually work? How practically speaking, is there going to be a ministry of absorption? Who's going to pay for it? So I think Israelis, will say, okay, you want to return. You set up your own ministry of absorption, but we're not paying for it. Palestinians, will have to fund it themselves, and they'll have to figure out how are they going to provide employment for Palestinians coming from the diaspora. Is there going to be a competition between Palestinians who are here now and Palestinians who would be uh, coming from abroad, educating the Palestinians who might want to come here. Those are some of the real economic questions that I think when we start talking about, okay, again, like how would this practically work? I think that Palestinians have to decide for themselves, you know, what kind of government, what kind of governing structure do they want, and they have to, and we can work with each other, but I think that um, this is one of the things that they have to decide for themselves who they want to grant citizenship to. But I think that you could have, but the second level of citizenship is the federation citizenship. So I think, like in the European Union, you could have a federation passport, Abrahamic federation passport, and it would have two versions. One would be an Israeli version, and one would be a Palestinian version. And all citizens of the federation, again, they would have equal civil rights. But the trick is, how do you do this while maintaining a Jewish state demographically? And I think that federation or confederation is the key that will unlock this particular problem. How do you give rights? How do you allow Palestinians from abroad to come here while still maintaining a Jewish state? I think that providing an independent Palestine, what we don't want is separation. That's the key thing. A separation, we don't believe brings peace. A separation is a divorce. That's what you do when you can't live with each other. We have to figure out how to live with each other. The model that we talk about is that this is, rather than a marriage dispute, that it's an inheritance dispute. It's a family dispute. But the question is, how do we allocate, the property, the Yerusha, the inheritance, in an equitable manner? And I think that's, so Israelis, again, like, they want to know the details. When I speak to Palestinians, they're thrilled with Abraham. love it. But they don't really know necessarily what federalism is. But they're like, sounds pretty good. And yalla, what are you waiting for?